All right, let's get into the goodish news segment. This is where we fly through the goodish news of the day. I like to keep you all informed. I know most of you don't even read the news or follow anything that's going on. I know most of you are like, don't want to hear it, don't want to know, and I respect that. But I also want to push that boundary a little bit, just kind of noodle on that boundary and teach you a little bit about news. So the first thing you got to know about news, there's a lot of different websites where news comes from websites. So you got to kind of know the website you're looking at. So I like to look at a few different websites. I like to get my news from a few different sources. So you'll see a few different websites here, just in case you're confused. News doesn't only come from one website. A lot of people are misunderstanding that. But let's go through it quickly. We're not going to go into depth. Don't worry. We're just going to do the headlines for the most part, okay? OpenAI hardware leader resigns after deal with Pentagon. So high up people saying we are collaborating a bit too much with autocracy. Fox News is the most mainstream news channel in the United States. Fox News apologizes for showing old video of a hatless Republican President Donald Trump at a dignified transfer ceremony. So they showed some of the first dead Americans coming back from the newest war on Iran, coming home in coffins, these people. And the U.S. president was there wearing a hat, which when I saw the image, I was like, it is funny and weird that he's wearing a hat, but I didn't even think about it from like a dignity way. I was just like, why is he wearing a hat? Like, it didn't make sense. Like, I know people who are just feel a lot of anxiety, honestly, like, and like wear hats and stuff because they're like anxious about their hair or like their hairline or what, like just their hair. And I'm like, he must be in that place. He must be feeling anxious because like, why would you be wearing a hat all the time? Like, regardless, I didn't even think, it is kind of disrespectful. You're welcoming, the first casualties of the war you started, the first dead people that are your responsibility in this newest situation. Obviously, a lot of other dead people are Republican presidents' responsibility. But Fox News apparently, which is obviously the autocratic, the mainstream autocratic channel, they showed a different clip of him hatless by total accident. But when Fox News apologizes about anything, it's like, it's serious because they're totally fine just not acknowledging anything. Okay. Uber's women-only option goes nationwide in the U.S. This is something that they've had to do after lawsuits of not protecting women and not keeping women safe, especially riders, but also drivers, but especially riders, I believe. Now women riders can be matched up with women drivers and vice versa. XAI, company owned by the double-saluting world's most hoarding wealth individual, loses bid to halt California AI data disclosure law. 2 teen mariachi musicians released from ICE detention. That's 2 teenagers. National Bureau of Economic Research cuts ties with Larry Summers, associate of late indicted human trafficker and convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. In scathing ruling, judge says 3 Republican President Donald Trump prosecutors are in unlawful roles. Whoopsies. I hate when prosecutors are in unlawful roles. Hate when that happens. A federal jury awards 667. Could we not make it 666? Just for old time's sake. A federal jury awards $667,000 to Muslim men who were pepper sprayed by prison guards while praying. That's the country we have here. I talk a lot about, because anti-Semitism is a problem, but I talk a lot about how big of a problem anti-Islam sentiment is. It's a huge problem. And I think as a Jewish person, it's my responsibility to make sure we don't let our autocratic country focus completely on anti-Semitism as a justification for supporting the Zionist ethnic state of Israel and targeting Muslim people. You have elected leaders in the United States saying to persecute Muslims. It's insane. Muslim people are our siblings. Like, we love people of all faiths. And this is what happens in the United States is goons in the prison system feel entitled to pepper spray Muslim people for praying. Disgusting. And there is justice in the world. So that's why this is in the Goodish News segment. Alabama governor commutes death sentence of a man whose accomplice fired fatal shot. This guy did not even kill anyone, let alone if he had killed people. I do not believe in the death penalty. Republican lawmaker says he's leaving the Republican Party and will serve as an independent, saying, I'm not even that great of a guy, but these people are losers and I can't be associated with them. I believe that's maybe a direct quote, maybe not. Former Missouri House Speaker is a Republican, sentenced to prison for COVID relief fraud. This is a guy defrauding the U.S. government, a Republican defrauding the U.S. government and stealing $380,000 from our tax dollars, while presumably talking shit about the pandemic and misleading people if he was a Republican. Leon Black deposition in a late indicted human trafficker Jeffrey Epstein's accusers lawsuit against Bank of America delayed. Sorry, I think this was a different headline. I would not have saved this for I believe probably first the headline was that he is actually being deposed, and that's why I saved it. I would not have saved it if the headline was that it's delayed. So sorry about that. Next up, some states are reviving a push to tax the rich. Okay, better than taxing the poor, I'd think. We do need money. We do need money for all the things. Some taxes are better than others, but taxing the rich, pretty good. I mean, even aside from needing money, my understanding is you could burn a lot of money rather than even because the Republican and centrist response to taxing the rich or taxing anyone is, but the government doesn't spend tax dollars well, which I think is a really bad argument. I think that's like there has to be a logical fallacy name for that. I don't know what it is, but it's like slightly a non sequitur, I guess, where like that's a slightly separate question. Like how efficiently we spend tax dollars, But you wouldn't be like, oh, I'm not a good cook, so I'm not going to eat or something. I don't know. It's like, oh, I don't want to buy groceries. I'm a bad cook. It's like, well, that's not how it works. You could work on your cooking. You still need to buy groceries. It's sort of like a little bit of how I would say. So, but yeah, my understanding is even if we literally just like burned us, not all the money, but like there should be no billionaires. Even if the money taken from them was not able to be spent efficiently, the economy runs more efficiently without people hoarding wealth. It's more necessary to have transfer and flowing currency. I don't know. I've heard economists talk about this. I'm not an expert, but it makes sense to me. Lords a-leavin', Britain is ejecting hereditary nobles from Parliament after 700 years. I forgot they had this. It's not surprising, but I forgot they still had a whole bunch of hereditary nobles in their parliament, unelected. I mean, the whole House of Lords is unelected. That seems bad. Like, maybe, don't have a monarchy. Judge denies restraining order for conservative media figures who sought press passes. So these people, the judge said that these people were not technically, I'm a fan of the free press. I'm not a fan of governments and states restricting access of the press, but it made sense, the ruling. The judge said, these people are not technically in the press because they're so hyper-partisan. They're participants in the political arena advocating for certain agendas or hosting or speaking at rallies, so they are not technically part of the press. So great. Woman found innocent after 22 years in prison will not be deported. That's a goodish headline. It's crazy that this even has to be said. Carmen Mejia was cleared of murder in connection with the death of a baby in her care who was scalded by hot water in 2003 in Austin, Texas. And I read the article. It was because the hot water at their unit was not maintained properly. So when one of her kids went to draw a bath for this baby, the water came out so hot because of issues with the landlord and how the property was maintained. So this woman was cleared of murder, and then now obviously our racist autocratic government wants to deport her. It's crazy, this country we're living in, y'all. I saw that post that the Department of Homeland Security did, if 100 million people got deported. I mean, it's too crazy. I mean, I don't even know. It was like a meme. I don't even know what to say. It's unbelievable. Look at this, y'all. Like, this is real life. Like, I know it's hard to see, y'all, but this is real life. Like, the United States federal government is run by a bunch of racist, goon, pathetic losers who have never known true love and intimacy and who only get off on power and violence. It's disgusting and gross and pathetic, and they will be held accountable. Trust me. I don't even mean criminally. Like, some of them hopefully will be held criminally accountable, but like, these people have to live the rest of their lives knowing I'm the one who posted this meme. Everyone they meet, every relationship they have, they'll either be hiding it or sharing it. This is on New Year's Eve, apparently. Someone in the government, some little white boy, posted the peace of a nation no longer besieged by the third world. And it says America after 100 deportations. And it's a car on the beach, an old-fashioned car on the beach. America after 100 million deportations. This is the federal government. And if you're a Republican or a centrist, an independent centrist who just happens to not take issue with the things the Republican government does, just let yourself think about this. It's healthy for you. Just let yourself think about this. And let yourself ask yourself, why did I not see where this was going? Like, why did I believe that they were just going to target violent criminals? Like, what's wrong with me? Why am I so easily hoodwinked? It's okay to ask yourself stuff like that. It really is. Like, why am I so easily hoodwinked? You should ask yourself that. If you genuinely thought after the last decade that the Donald Trump Republican Party was going to come into power and only target violent criminals for deportation, you have mental problems. Seriously, they're not diagnosable. They're just like you need to sharpen your brain. You need to sharpen your perception. This is absolutely predictable that this would be the government, that they would come in. Now, maybe 100 is a little shocking. I would have thought they'd maybe say 20. But at the end of the day, this is what they do. Because then, if they deport 20 million, maybe some Republicans and centrists are not as they don't care maybe until it hits their pocketbook. I mean, obviously, you all know, like, undocumented migrants are used for labor by all the Republicans. And any business owner with a business big enough would be happy to rely on undocumented labor. And Donald Trump has his whole career. I mean, it's extremely common. It's all hypocrisy. They are hoodwinking the population. They know that undocumented migration is good for the economy. They all know that. They don't care. Now people are genuinely xenophobic and uncomfortable with foreigners and get uncomfortable when they hear someone speaking a language they don't understand. That's real, you know. And then they react to that by being big babies because they're losers. But this is real. This is reality. The government, the United States government, the Department of Homeland Security, and the federal U.S. government posted a meme glorifying the idea of deporting like a third of the U.S. population, a quarter of the U.S. population. Obviously, natural-born citizens. I mean, they've already been. This is not hypothetical. They've deported natural-born citizens and other citizens of the United States. And they're just blatantly saying, we want to deport more citizens, more people who have every right to be here. So I am a big believer in accountability. And like I said, not just criminal accountability. How would you, like... You know, there are people who are friends and family of the people who posted this meme. There are hundreds, there are thousands of people who are friends and family of the little white boys who are posting these memes. And there are probably some women involved too, but it's mostly little white boys. And there are people who are their friends and family, and they will know that they did this. They'll try to block it out, but they'll know. And that is accountability, and there will be accountability, and hopefully more forms of accountability. But at the very least, these people need to face their family and friends, and they'll either be sharing this or hiding this. And either way, it's not going to feel good. So, next up, judge orders release of Marlboro 14-year-old detained by Homeland Security. This is a 14-year-old detained by Homeland Security and transferred to a juvenile detention facility in New York. This is a 14-year-old girl ordered to be returned to Massachusetts and released to her aunt's custody. Some of Massachusetts' top lawmakers and the girl's attorney claimed the girl had been detained as bait in order to detain another family member. Centrists and Republicans, you voted for this. I hope you sleep well at night. And this minor came originally from Brazil and is on a visitor visa, seeking special immigrant juvenile visa, has no criminal history, has never been charged with any criminal offense. Just so you know, visitor visa, that means not undocumented migrant. Just so you know. People a little bit confused about that. What's the difference between non-citizen and undocumented? I don't know. It's only 2026, and I don't know the difference between an undocumented person and a non-citizen. What's the difference? Oh my God. Let's just take away everyone's rights, because I can't think. A little bit of a change of pace. Grammarly is pulling down its explosively controversial feature that impersonates writers without their permission, saying we hear the feedback and recognize we fell short on this. But in our defense, we thought we would make money. Democrats are trouncing Republicans in state elections since Republican President Donald Trump took office. And look, I am not a Democratic girly. I'm not a Democrat person. But they are way better than the Republicans, and maturity is about being able to look at two options and choose the better option. Sometimes that's a big part of being a mature person. U.S. judge temporarily blocks Republican President Donald Trump from ending protections for 1,100 Somali human beings who are legally in our country. Just more people who have been legally living and working in the United States that the Republicans have targeted. Legally. They don't want to. They're creating undocumented migrants. They're creating undocumented migrants by turning documented legal migrants into undocumented migrants, attempting to. And then the judge has to step in and say, are you guys kidding me? You're too racist. U.S. judge temporarily blocks Republican President Donald Trump from securing race data from colleges. They're trying to just harvest all of our information. And U.S. judge orders Republican President Donald Trump's administration to continue funding consumer watchdog agency. The Financial Protection Bureau has saved U.S. citizens and residents an enormous amount of money. It is an extremely important. If you think the government has no role, then you are saying we should all be exploited more and more by banks and financial instruments and financial institutions. But I believe that it's good to have organizations who protect people from being targeted and having financial crimes inflicted, persecuted against them by financial institutions. So I actually think it's good to, if you think it's good to have the police, then why shouldn't we have like financial police? So yeah, if you consume things, this is an agency that you should like. Judge rules lawmaker must be allowed to join Kennedy Center board meeting. So apparently they're just, the autocracy is trying to, co-opt cultural institutions all over. And lastly, Republicans close University of Florida chapter over alleged anti-Semitism. Wow, they're like, okay, You guys you're making us look bad, okay? You gotta keep the anti-Semitism a little bit more below the surface. Racist, anti-Semitic, and homophobic messages in the University of Florida Republicans group chat. Shocking that Republicans are racist, anti-Semitic, and homophobic. Shocking. Really hard for me to process, honestly. I'm trying to make sense of it. No, what's really surprising is that the Republicans cared at all and closed that chapter. But yeah, it's starting to look bad. Republicans are starting to look bad, you know? They're starting to look really bad. Now, the real hope is that Democrats are forced to listen to what's actually popular, which is people who actually talk about affordability and the regular people's lives and actually improving the well-being of society, not, mainstream Democrats who won't push for anything. But there are a lot of Democrats who are very serious about advocating for the working class and average people. And there are very few Republicans that are even remotely serious about it. So let's push farther left. Let's make some real progress in this country after this nightmare. This is a podcast